Hello, my yarn smithing lovelies, yet again. These weeks go really quickly. Welcome once again to my studio here in central UK. It's really good to have you along. If you've not seen me before, my name's Simon Henry, and this is where we gather to talk all things yarn craft. So first of all, today I want to thank Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. I'm going to tell you a little bit about those in a minute. And today we've got a bit of a mishmash. There's a new fabulous yarn find that I found on Amazon. For those who haven't seen me before, if I ever come across anything in the week that I think you're going to like and is really good value, I'll always bring that along to you at the weekend. And hate at the end is, I'm not sure if it's hate, not sure, don't know, stay tuned, have a little look at that. And I'm going to give my take on the UK's new knitting game show, which is Game of Wool. I'll see you in a minute. If you've seen my videos before, you'll know that from time to time I like to bring you things that I think that you're going to find really helpful and really useful. So when my friends at Craftsy reached out to me and asked if they could sponsor this video, I actually jumped at the chance because I'm already aware of Craftsy. I'm actually already a member over there, so I was more than happy to do so. So what is Craftsy? It's an online resource for all things creative. That's the easiest way to describe it. Craftsy are always creating new classes, videos, there are patterns, there are experts on there that will talk you through things step by step in all kinds of things. Obviously, you know, I went on there for the knit and crochet and yarn, but there's knitting, crochet, quilting, sewing, painting, cooking. I actually used a recipe of theirs yesterday, baking, cake decorating, and many more things. So really, Craftsy is an online community of like-minded makers, creatives like me, where members can find inspiration to advance their skills, even, you know, at high-ish levels. You know, that I'm actually a professional in the industries that I work in. However, I still find lots of things over there, and new things. You know, I've flicked through and found things that I've thought, you know, I'm going to have a little go at that. There's over 2,000 classes on there, and for people like me, I'm like a sponge. I never stop learning. So that's actually what it's made for. So it's for everybody. It's from beginner crafters to, you know, high-end makers. Anybody really who is interested in the craft world can find something on there that's gonna suit their needs. So if you want to become a member like me, we've got an offer actually that is valid for new members only, and there's a Black Friday special. If you go to here, I'm going to pop it there. I'm also going to put that in the description as well, so that you can find it. Believe it or not, the Black Friday special, you can get a whole year over there of Craftsy Premium. Are you ready? Wait for it. $1.49. You know me. I'm only going to bring you things that you're going to find useful and that I believe in personally. And like I said before Crafty approached me, I was already a member. So, and for the money, It really is. It really is a no-brainer. Go now. No, watch the video first and then go. I'll see you in a bit. So really, honestly, pop over to Craftsy and have a look. That's incredible value at the minute, and I learn all kinds of things on there. So this week I was having a little troll through the yarn section on Amazon, and I came across something that was incredible value. I don't know how long it will last. I'm going to pop it here somewhere for you so you can see. And it's this. It was a 900 gram cone of 100% lamb's wool for an incredible, let me have a look at the price because I've got it here somewhere. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I had it all ready for you. Honestly, here we go. £24.20 for a 900 gram cone of lamb's wool, 100% lamb's wool. It's undyed, which means you can either knit it up as it is, or you can what we call garment dye it. I mean, if you want to, you can kind of wind it off, hank it up and do, you know, dip dyes. You can do all kinds of lovely things with it. But because it's already on cone, it would knit up really easily. It knits as 4-ply on 3mm needles, or goes through standard gauge domestic knitting machines. So what I would tend to do with it, and I think I will do, and I'll document that as we go along when I do it eventually, it might be after Christmas now. I'm going to machine knit probably a raglan round neck probably, and then I'm going to ombre dye it, and you can see the process of that. In the trade we call that garment dye, when the garment is knitted first and then it's dyed afterwards. So incredible value, honestly, for somebody like me who's in the trade, who buys this kind of thing wholesale. This is cheaper than wholesale. So pop over there, have a little look. If you want to, like I said, at the moment this would knit as 4-ply. If you want to do it thicker, then wind half of it off on your wool winder and then knit the two ends together for DK. 3 ends together would make Aran-ish yarn, and you know, more than enough to knit a full garment, and perhaps a bit more in there. So like I say, when I actually get round to doing something with that, I will show you the whole process, hopefully including the dye. You won't believe the mess I get into dye. It's up my arms, it's dripping off my elbows, all kinds of stuff. So that was that. Next, I've been asked by several to give my opinion on Game of Wool, which is the, if you've not seen it, the new UK knitting competition show. It claims to be finding Britain's best amateur knitter, which of course is not the case. What they're finding is what they consider to be the best knitter out of the people that applied, and out of those, it's the ones that the producers think are going to make the best TV. And there's been some controversy over it. In the second episode, they were, I think, speaking about, I can't remember if it was the first or second episode, speaking about Fair Isle, and they were calling things Fair Isle that actually weren't. in the UK, we often, like for example, I'll call any ball of yarn, I'll say, oh dear, I'll say, right, that did. I'm getting old, honestly. The tiniest little thing, and I wee a bit. Anyway, we refer to any ball of yarn. We'll say, go and fetch us that ball of wool. It's not wool, this is acrylic, but that's what we refer to. And the same as other things. We'll refer to a cable jumper as Aran when it actually isn't. We refer to, as in the programme, Fair Isle, when it's actually colour stranded knitting. Fair Isle has got a long history and a long tradition, and that should have been respected, I think, perhaps a little bit more on the show. However, that aside, at the moment, I'm going to say I'm going to reserve judgment. I'm going to see where the show goes. What it is doing, this is what I'll say, what it is doing, again, which is really good, is stimulating an interest in the craft. That part of it I really like. The amount of people, since that's been on the TV, have come and said, will you show me how to knit? And in fact, I'm going to do another video this week that is just dedicated to that. I'm going to actually start with literally right from the beginning. If you've never picked up knitting needles or a ball of yarn, I'm going to start right at the beginning and actually show you how to knit, how I was taught to knit. There'll be some hate over that because we all knit differently. I'm going to show you how I was taught to knit. I'll do that actually on a second video, like I said, this week. So my take at the moment, I'm going to reserve judgment until I've seen a little bit more of it. But like I said, what I will say, it's stimulating an interest, and that can only be a good thing. Another thing I really like on there, it's normalising men knitting. We've had this conversation on here before. It was actually men that started the knitting. At one point back in time, it was considered highly inappropriate for women to knit. Now it seems that a lot of people think it's inappropriate for men to knit. I've got no idea why. I really don't get it. And knitting for men, this is what I'm promoting at the minute. Men's mental health is something that does tend to get overlooked. Men do have mental health issues. Men suffer anxiety. Men suffer depression. One of the things and the techniques that you can use to calm anxiety is actually knit. It's been medically proven. People have been wired up while they're knitting and see what happens, and it releases positive hormones into your system. It lowers your heart rate, it lowers your blood pressure, which again can only be good. So the things on there, one, it's stimulating interest in knitting. Two, it's starting to normalise a little bit more the fact that men knit. So that's my take at the moment. Might change my mind later on, who knows. I will come back and I'll speak to you about that if I change my mind. So what else was this week? I've started this week, if I can find them. Where are they? There they are. I've started this week doing my yearly Christmas bonnets. I do for friends. They get really cross. They're getting really fed up every year. I knit them or crochet them something a little bit Christmassy. So this year I'm doing beanies. I'm doing beanie hats, and I've actually included in them lights. Look, can you see? Let me see. I'm going to make them wear them as well. So we've got a Christmas wreath. And we've got, what else have we got in here? Look, we've got a snowman. He's got lights in his hat. We've got kind of a Christmas tree thing with a little crocheted star on the top. That all lights up as well. I'm halfway through doing a reindeer. I'm halfway through doing a Santa Claus, and I'm just about to start a Christmas pudding. And so people ask me all the time, how do I do them? It's so easy, it's almost embarrassing to show you, but I'm going to show you anyway. Use chunky yarn, use a 5.5mm needle, or crochet hook rather, and we're going to chain 40 chain. Then we're going to work your first row as single crochets, that's US, or double crochet, which is a UK terminology, for into the first 10 chain, and then we go into half trebles or half doubles, whichever you're in. So it's half doubles in the US terms, half trebles in UK terms. Down to the bottom, turn around, half treble in the back loop for 30 stitches, and then single crochet or double crochet, whichever you're doing, in the back loop for 10. Turn, back loop, 10 single crochets, back loop, 30 double crochets, turn, etc. That's it. And you just keep going and going until the piece is long enough to join into a tube. I just joined it with slip stitch down the back. In this case, what I did, I actually did a couple of rows of white for the Santa's front band, and then I just crocheted some black around the bottom. The this one, you know, I just made a separate little Christmas wreath. So easy. Finish like I do here. If you finish at the top, then you've got your long piece of thread already just to thread around the top and draw it up into your hat. If you're going to put a bobble on that, draw it up on the outside. If you're not going to put a bobble on that, turn it inside out and do it and gather it up that way. There's your Christmas hats done. Just come up with all kinds of things that you can do. If you don't want to make them Christmassy, they actually make really nice presents just to do. It takes, it's not even a couple of hours to do one, and they're honestly ultra easy to do. Hope that helps. That's that done. So what's next? What else have we got? Let me make sure that I'm including everything for you today. For those who don't stay around for the hate, it's time to move on. Hold on, let me get rid of this, and I'll bring up the hate for you this week. This week's a difficult one because I'm not entirely sure that this is actually meant as hate. I think this woman is serious about what she's saying, and quite genuine. However, she does say, let me see if I can find all of it for you. So, I'm not going to say who this is because, like I said, I'm not entirely sure. It's meant as hate, but I'd be really interested to see in the comments what you think it means. So she starts off, she's put, I do not know how you were pushed to me. Perhaps because I have been moaning about the dearth of patterns available to knitters who wish to sell finished garments. Excuses from designers are that they have no control over the quality of the finished garment and do not want to put their name to a potentially shoddy product made from potentially crappy yarn, or they don't charge enough to justify the pattern for being used other than for personal use, and the list goes on. I always ask permission before even letting people know it's possible for me to knit them something I am wearing. We are not talking major production line here. I get bored easily, and unlike amigurumi crocheters selling at markets, I am unlikely to make more than 2 or 3 of any one pattern. However, I do acknowledge the more familiar you are with a pattern, the faster you are likely to produce a finished garment. I have enough skill to be able to copy without a pattern. Those of us who enjoy knitting for others but can't do it without charging a token labour charge need a solution. What are your thoughts? So this is a difficult one, which is how I answered. We as designers, people who don't really know how we work and what goes into the process, there are two ways of doing things. 3 actually in my case. Number 1, I design couture garments one-off for individual clients. I also then design for industry, so I'm paid to design specifically for manufacturers, both hand and industrial machine knitting. And number 3, I design for yarn companies, and then they sell the patterns to promote whatever yarn that it is using. So when I design for industry, for example, they pay me and they have then full rights to those patterns and designs. I no longer have the rights to those. It's like the books. People say to me, why can't you sell your own books? They don't belong to me. I sold the rights of those to the publishers. So this is the same. I've sold the rights of those to the manufacturers or the yarn companies. Can you believe? Every week I leave. I was certain that I turned that off. It's doing it on purpose. As somebody lovely said in the comments, but it wouldn't be a Simon Henry video without the bingy bongy noise up there. I'm going to have myself put away. Honestly, I really am. Unless my husband does it first. He's always threatening. He says, first smell a wee, I'm having you put away. That's what he says. Anyway, moving on. So we as designers cannot give permission for other people to use those designs to make money for themselves to sell, because they actually don't belong to us. So when it's a pattern that I do patterns. If you pop over to the Patreon site, you'll see that I write patterns specifically for the Patreon members. They're not available anywhere else at all. That's just there on Patreon, just for them, because they pay a monthly fee to be on there. So as far as I'm concerned, they're entitled to use those patterns however they wish. They're paying me to do it. By me giving you permission to use my designs for you to make money, I honestly don't understand why you don't seem to be able to understand that this is our living. We're not going to give our work away. A pattern, a design, for example, so it starts off with, you know, an idea and a sketch maybe. Then we source the yarn. Then we knit up samples. When we've found a sample that we like and it relates to what's kind of floating around in our head, we then do a tension swatch, measure how many stitches and how many rows to the inch or whatever we're using. Then we have to compute the maths to, you know, make the jumper in the right size or whatever we're knitting. Then we have to knit it. Then when we've knit it, and if we like it, we then have to go back to the maths and we have to grade that into different sizes. We're talking months of work. I mean, literally months and months of work. When this goes out then, you know, if I'm going to sell patterns, which I do on Love Crafts and I do on Ravelry, we then send it out to test knitters, which we have to pay test knitters to knit them up in all of the sizes so that we can make sure before you're paying your good money for us to use those patterns, that the patterns actually work. So this is a massive undertaking and costs an awful lot of money, and you want me to give them to you for free so you can make money. That's the bit I don't understand. You can buy a pattern for a small amount of money and use that yourself. You have the rights to that pattern for personal use. Of course, you can knit for family. You can do, you know, whatever you like with that. If you're going to use my months and months of hard work to make yourself money, you know, and you said on there about somewhere, how do knitters expect their patterns to go viral if we're not going to sell them? No, it honestly doesn't work that way. Very, very few designers have patterns that go viral. It just, you know, some are lucky, yes, but very few have that. So let me know what you think. She did, I believe, let me see if I can find it. She did answer, and she put, thanks for responding. The reason for not doing my own designs, because I actually said, if you're capable of copying somebody, you're actually capable of doing it yourself. Originate your own designs. Then the right to those designs belongs entirely to you. You can do whatever you like with them. It is interesting. I wonder if you did sit and do your own design, how would you feel about somebody else making money off your back when you've put all of the work in? I wonder how you would feel, if you would feel differently about that. Don't know. But she put, the reason for not doing my own designs is exactly because I want to knit something tried and tested, but we're paying to try and test it. And then I can happily credit a good design to its originator. And that design, she knows, then will knit up into different sizes. Yeah, because we've done the maths and we've done the work, months of work. Buying a pattern directly from a designer already comes in several sizes. Yeah, because again, we've done the work. Budgeting and time allocations are easily calculated once the initial garment is created. Perfect for somebody like me who wants to accommodate prospective customers. I really wish knit designers could work out where commercial pattern sales could fit into their repertoire. We do have commercial pattern sales in our repertoire. because we're selling to yarn companies, etc., etc. I mean, I don't know how much I would charge if you wanted to buy the rights to a particular pattern, and then sell that art, so knit those and sell them on because you've bought the rights. But then would that stop anybody else having the rights to that pattern? It's a difficult one. Surely designers can create patterns that they are comfortable with knitters taking payment for labour to create the finished product. But again, I don't understand why you want us to give our work away for free, work that we've spent months and quite a lot of money on. Why do you want us to give it away for free? I don't know. Until it's made and being worn and people seeing the knitting designs, the pattern will never go viral. If they keep denying the need, knitters will just reuse the patterns, the designer only receiving initial pattern sale. And knitters will not credit the designer for fear of repercussion. No, you shouldn't be doing it anyway. If it says on the pattern, copyright whoever, whether it belongs to the yarn company or whether it belongs to me personally, if it says that on the pattern and it says that the pattern can only be knitted up for personal use, not for resale, that's what it means. That's what it means. See, I kind of half get your frustration. I do get that. But I find it really quite entitled that you should think that, you know, we're putting our work, hard work, it is hard work out there that we've spent money on, and you want to use it for free, or you want to use it just for, you know, the initial money for the pattern. Let me all think what you think about this. It'll be interesting to get, you know, other people's take on it and see. Like I said, I don't think she's being hateful, but she's kind of dissing designers because we're daring to charge for our work. I mean, how very dare we say, I clutch my pearls, how very dare we charge for the months of work that we've put in to a design? Confused on that one. So that's about it for the hate, apart from I did yesterday have hate from my husband, believe it or not. I answered the door to a delivery man. It was Waitrose bringing our weekly shop, and lovely delivery man said, can you manage, or would you like some help? And I said to a husband of mine, wasn't that lovely? That was really good service of him. And he said, no, he asked that because you're fat and old. Fat and old. I suppose he's right, really. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So again, once again, thank you so much to Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. I'll probably get into trouble for that now, because, you know, I take sponsorship. So thank you to them. Thank you to lovely Patreon people for supporting me over there. It really is very, very much appreciated. And at the moment we're doing, what are we doing? We're doing a knit along with some socks at the moment, and then some gloves, and don't know what after that. So we'll have to find something. And in the meantime, Like and subscribe. It honestly really does help out the channel. I asked a few weeks ago if people would just for me click the subscribe button, because what that actually means, it doesn't bring me anymore, because people think that's part of the monetization. It doesn't make any difference at all. But what the difference it does make is that it helps to put these videos out to a lot more people, because YouTube is saying that people are interacting with the video, so therefore we'll recommend him to other people. And so that, please like and subscribe. Very, very happy yarn smithing as always. Very much love, and I'm going to see you next week for a bit more of this nonsense. Bye.